No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
And here we are. This is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor. And I'm glad that it's a nice, green, kind of a drizzly day. We're supposed to get some rain today. It's kind of chilly today. I don't know what the temperature is at the moment because I can't see it on my computer. But it's going to be a drizzly, cold day. In springtime, we're having this during the springtime. So we haven't really had that much warm weather yet in this springtime. We've had a lot of rain, a lot of clouds, and then other days, we'll have a really cold day, and then the next couple of days, it might get up to 80 degrees. So we're not quite sure exactly what's happening with I think Mother Nature doesn't like us anymore. She said, you know what? You've done so much political talk about my job, about my job as Mother Nature. I don't like you anymore, so I'm going to screw you up. Listen, I told you that I would be coming on today and talking to you about how to handle and what to think about through a recession. Now, unfortunately, we have been in a recession for a long time. Do you know what the official terminology of a recession? A recession is more nuanced than the textbook definition you've often heard about. But the Business Cycle Dating Committee, and I never knew there was such a dating committee. No one's ever asked me to date in that committee. Official definition claims that a recession is a significant decline in economic activity across the financial system for longer than a few months. Economic growth can decline for 2 straight quarters, but not always. Now, let's think about this. Okay, now that's their official definition. Now, we have had significant months over the last year and a half of inflation, of economic downturn, on scarcity of food, on high gas prices and energy costs. We have had a significant drop, and now we have a banking crisis that we're worried about. We have had a significant economic downturn over the last year and a half. And they still refuse to call it a recession. Well, I'm calling it as a recession. We have been in a recession for several months. And that is one of the questions that they keep asking on national television and syndicated cable news is, are we in a recession? Yes, we are in a recession. Now, the people who get to say this officially is a group out there that's called the National Bureau of Economic Research Business Cycling Data Committee. Now, they haven't said yet, they haven't declared yet that this is a recession. They've hinted at it in many of their memos that they've put out, but they haven't officially declared it. Well, I'm officially declaring it because, I'm sorry, no one invited me to join that dating committee. Cycle dating committee. So guess what? I am telling you, and I've been telling you this over the last few months, we are in a recession. We are in a recession. Even the U.S. economy isn't in a recession as these economists out there are saying, oh, no, we're not in a recession yet. You and I, Americans, can still feel like we are living through tough times. And we are living through tough times. Because we are. More than half, or 55% of Americans who scored a raise between August 21 and August 22 said their income hasn't kept up with inflation. A feeling akin to taking a pay cut. Even though they've gotten a raise, they feel as though they've gotten a pay cut. That's not how it's supposed to work, is it? So preparing for a recession, which we are going to talk about today, comes down to using strong economic times to your benefit. Focus on limiting your spending, forming a budget, building an emergency fund, and eliminating high-interest debts. Now, we are supposed to be doing that every single month of every single year, not just during a recession. This should be standard operating procedures for every single one of us to make sure that we are prepared for any type of economic upturn or any type of economic downturn. We're in a downturn at the moment. So the U.S. economy has a 64% chance of contracting by the end of 2023. Contracting means that it gets squeezed. Times get tougher. Now, that's what the top economists at Bankrate's first quarter economic indicator survey, as they went out and surveyed people in the United States. So we have these recessionary worries, and it's on every American mind. I don't think it's on Biden's mind. I don't think he cares. I don't think it's on members of the Congress or the Senate. I don't think they care because they have done diddly squat. In fact, what they've done is made it worse by all of these spending bills that they have passed. Nearly 7 in 10 Americans, 69%, say they are worried about a recession. You should be worried about it because we are in a recession right this very moment. I tell you, I get so exasperated because you and I, we both know we're in a recession, but yet the government and the economists and everybody else will not admit that we're in a recession because they want to paint a rosy picture to make you feel as though things are much better than what they are. And we know that everything right now is in a sack of caca. Another 40% are saying they're somewhat worried about being in a recession. I would think that you would change your mind and say, I need to do something, and I need to do it right now. So here's some suggestions on what you need to do. Number 1, take a detailed stock of your finances. One of the most common unexpected expenses during the downturn is job loss. And as you know, we have had a lot of layoffs, a lot of job terminations that may never come back to those companies. And when times are tough, companies begin to scale back. And that's what's happening at this very moment. They're scaling back on hiring and they're slashing jobs. Literally slashing them, saying no more. The job market could have a $252,000, I didn't mean to say that, 252,000 fewer jobs by March of 2023. That has already happened. That's done with. And they're projecting that employers are going to even cut even more. Disney just came out yesterday and said they're going to cut another 4,000 jobs. So we have all these companies who are planning to make more jobs cut. So you and I have to be ready for that to happen if it should happen to us. And it may happen to us. I tell you, the worries are on American minds. And you guys should be worried. If you're in a job, think in your mind that that job is not stable for right now. Because the economic picture is a recessionary picture. And this is what happens during a recession. A third, or 33%, are worried about their job security. I would put that number even up higher. I would say it's about 55% of Americans are worried. Do they have a job? Do they have security in their job? I tell you, that's one of the things that you have to look. So you have to look at your financial picture. You've got to be able to see what's going on in your bank. How secure is your bank? How much money do you have in the bank? How much money have you put aside for an emergency? Listen, $1,000 in this economy isn't going to cut it. Now we need to start thinking about another $10,000. Just to be able to cover us for 2 or 3 months, depending on how long you may be out of work. Taking a hard look at your finances helps you to know who to contact if you face a tough financial situation. Credit card companies, bankers, and even utility companies created programs during the pandemic situation that we had that helped cash-strapped Americans keep their lights on even when they struggle to pay the bills and with special forbearance programs. That was put out there. Some of those are still available to you. Know what your financial conditions are so that you know what is out there that can help you in case you lose your job. The other reason a financial inventory could benefit you is that you'll be able to quickly identify which expenses can be cut. Subscription services, entertainment services, all kinds of apps that you're paying for. Some of those are going to have to go. So you got to look at every single thing that's in your financial picture and find out exactly what can I live without and what I'm going to have to live without in order to save money. I'm going to go through several of these very quickly here because I'm running out of time on my podcast here. I have 3 minutes and 40 seconds. 2, make building an emergency fund your top priority. That is number one. I talk to you about that every single day that you need to build an emergency fund. Remember, credit card is not an emergency fund. That costs you big time in interest. So don't get that out of your head. Number 3, create a monthly budget and find ways to limit your expenses, especially for big ticket items. Now, I want you to go to my website at www.lodge.co.com and click on Business Advisory Services. And there is an Excel spreadsheet that is a budget that compares your actual budget against your actual expenditures. Use it. It's free. It's just a download. That's all you have to do. I'm not charging you anything for that. Use it. And there's some online services that you can use also, okay? So just be prepared for that. Number 4, keep your emergency fund in a place where it's rewarded but still liquid. And then number 5, pay down high-interest credit card balances and refinance variable rates into fixed. And then number 6, assess your individual financial situation before paying off other debts. Which means look at what you need to pay in order to survive. Your rent, your utilities, your car payment, your gasoline, those types of things that you need in order to be able to survive. Number 7, don't make knee-jerk reactions with your investments. And number 8, don't neglect thinking about your career or earnings opportunities when times are tough. In other words, keep looking for a better job with more money because you're going to need it. And then number 9, don't panic. Recessions are inevitable. Gosh, what do they even make these kind of words? It's going to happen. But they're not always as bad as the coronavirus pandemic or the Great Recession that we have lived through. So there are some ideas that you need to think about. The link to this article I read out of Bankrate is down below. Read it thoroughly. Go through it. I'll put a link to my Excel spreadsheet for your budget. You need to sit down and do that. I know I talk to you about that every single day, about managing your financial stabilities every single day. At the end of my podcast, I always say that we can get through this recession, through this inflation, if we just sit down and manage what we're doing. Listen, go to my website if you would like to sit down with me at www.lodge.co.com. If you have a question, send it to thebusinessadvisor@gmail.com. I love you guys. Talk with you soon. Bye-bye.